Good afternoon, class. Today we are going to discuss another mood disorder, that is bipolar affective disorder. Previous class we had discussed regarding depression, its clinical features, the etiology and the management of depression. Before going to bipolar affective disorder, let's understand what is mood and what is affect. Mood is a pervasive and sustained feeling tone that is experienced internally and that influences a person's behavior and perception of the world. Affect is the external expression of mood. Mood can be normal, elevated, or depressed. Healthy persons experience a wide range of moods and have an equally large repertoire of affective expressions. They feel in control of their moods and affects. So, what is the difference between the mood and the affect? Affect is cross sectional, mood is longitudinal. So, affect is something, if we take an example, it is like a weather, today's weather, and mood is something, the present season. So, today's weather, it's quite cloudy and can be rainy, and the season is its monsoons. So, in a similar way, mood is for longer duration and affect is for shorter duration. Our affect would be ranging from sadness to happiness in a day, like your pendulum. Coming to the mood disorder. Mood disorder are a group of clinical conditions characterized by loss of that sense of control and a subjective experience of great distress. These disorders virtually always result in impaired interpersonal, social, and occupational functioning. Patients with both manic and depressive episodes, or patients with manic episodes alone, are said to have bipolar disorder. The terms unipolar mania and pure mania are sometimes used for patients who are bipolar but who do not have depressive episodes. So always, and there is always a confusion with a lay person when we call the person is having bipolar affective disorder. They think in a day the mood will be fluctuating, the mood swings are known as bipolar affective disorder. It is not so. This is an episodic disorder. The phase might be in the phase of mania, it can have an episode of depression, there can be an episode of mixed episode. So we'll come to know what all these episodes consist of. This is the longitudinal graph that we represent for bipolar affective disorder. The first wave tells us about mania, where the person is having all the manic symptoms in the form of elated mood, elated, expansive, and irritable mood, increased spending spree, increased religiosity. These clinical features we'll discuss in the forthcoming slides. They may reach the normalcy after having a manic episode, and then they may develop depression, or they may develop one more manic episode, they may develop one more hypomanic episode, or they may develop the mixed episode, which might be a mixture of both depression and mania. So let us understand what is mania. As in the previous class, we have understood what a depression would be, what major depression might be, what are the clinical features if a person who has been diagnosed to be having major depressive disorder would have, and what will be the duration of the episode. Now let us know about mania. A manic episode is a distinct period of an abnormally and persistently elevated, expansive, or irritable mood lasting for at least 1 week or less if a patient must be hospitalized. So what directly this indicates is like if it causes so much of distress that the patient has to be hospitalized, or he creates so much of distress among the family members that he has to be hospitalized, even in 2 days of these symptoms will be considered to be having manic episode. Coming to hypomania. So hypomania, as the term itself indicates, it is minor form of or milder form of mania. A hypomanic episode lasts for at least 4 days and is similar to manic episode, except that it is not sufficiently severe to cause impairment in social or occupational functioning, and no psychotic features are present. Both mania and hypomania are associated with inflated self esteem, decreased need for sleep, distractibility, great physical and mental activity, and over involvement in pleasurable behavior. So, what is this? Now, after understanding what is mania, what is hypomania, what is depression, now let us try to understand what is bipolar affective disorder. According to Diagnostic and Statistical Manual 4, text revision, bipolar 1 disorder is defined as a clinical course of one or more manic episodes and sometimes major depressive episodes. A mixed episode is a period of at least 1 week in which both a manic episode and a major depressive disorder episode occur almost daily. A variant of bipolar disorder characterized by episodes of major depression and hypomania rather than mania is known as bipolar 2 disorder. This is according to American Psychiatric Association classification, which talks about bipolar 1 and 2, whereas your ICD-10 by WHO doesn't mention about bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. It just mentions about the bipolar affective disorder. So now coming to the epidemiology of this bipolar affective disorder. It is quite high. The lifetime prevalence of BPAD is 0.6 to 2.4%. It affects both the genders. More of manic symptoms or manic episodes are seen in male gender. Female gender will experience more of depressive episodes. The age of onset of bipolar affective disorder ranges from childhood to 50 years or even older in cases with with a mean of 30. They may be married or unmarried depending on the onset of the illness. It has been observed that bipolar affective disorder is more common in a divorced patient or in a single person than among married persons, but this difference may reflect the early onset and resulting marital discord of the disorder. So we cannot specifically say that unmarried person will be more prone to have bipolar affective disorder or a divorced person. It might be because of the illness itself, the person might not have married, or if he has married and has developed the illness, that would have led to the marital discord. As we had discussed, coming to the etiology, always we discuss in a biopsychosocial model. So, the biological factors for the etiology of bipolar affective disorder have reported that in patients with mood disorders, that monoamino neurotransmitters, that is norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin, and histamine, were the main focus of theories and research about the etiology of this disorder. And this had led to the development of antipsychotics. The monoaminergic systems thus are now viewed as a broader neuromodulatory systems, and disturbances are as likely to be secondary or epiphenomenal effects as they are directly or causally related to etiology and pathogenesis. The genetic factors, heredity is one of the things, the genetic modulation can be one of the things, problems with the receptors can be one of the things. So, numerous family, adoption, and twin studies have long documented the heritability of the mood disorders. Coming to the psychosocial factors, stressful life events and environmental stress can lead to the mood disorders, or it can lead to the precipitation. If the person is already having a diagnosis of mood disorder, it can precipitate one more episode. The relapse of the symptoms can be seen whenever there is stressor in their life. Now coming to the clinical features. In mania, we see elevation of mood, increased activity, self-important ideas, that is increased self-esteem is been observed more. Mood in these cases of mania, they will be elevated, cheerful, optimistic, infectious, gaiety, and irritable. So, depending on their mood in mania, we usually call them, we classify into elated euphoric mania or irritable dysphoric mania. So, in case of elated euphoric, the jocularity is so infectious that the person next to him also will be, the person will take the other individual who is considered to be normal to a high. Whereas in irritable dysphoric mania, the person we can see is like more irritable, aggressive, and quite distressed. The appearance and behavior, they usually wear the brightly colored clothes, untidy, they may be untidy, they may be disheveled. Physical exhaustion can happen because of the overactivity. They start many activities but leave them unfinished as many and as the new ones catch their fancy. So anything, any external stimuli can shift their attention. There can be increased or decreased appetite. Sleep might be reduced as they think that sleep is just a waste of time. They don't need sleep and they have high energy levels. Sexual desires or the libido might be more. Speech and thought is often rapid and copious. Thoughts crowd in quick succession, and what they speak sometimes it is very difficult for the other individual to understand. Prolixity or flight of ideas can be seen in these cases, that is, rapid changes that is difficult to follow the train of thought. Links are usually understandable. So, for an example, I ask, how is the weather today? So, you would look into the out of the window and tell me that it's going to rain today. Then you would start saying, telling me the rhyme, rain, rain, go away, taking the stimulus from the previous sentence. So, from go away, you would say that I don't like this friend, please go away, something like that, so that you cannot connect the thoughts, but they take the cue from the previous sentence. They can have expansive ideas, that is extravagant spending more than they can afford. So they can go into spending spree, they can buy the property, they can make loan, or they become so generous to give away the money without any surety. Grandiose delusions, delusion of persecution and reference can also be there. Hallucinations would be consistent with the mood and insight is impaired. That is, they will not have an insight that they have an illness. The self esteem is so high, the grandiosity is so high, and they also hear, they will have the psychotic features which is mood congruent. That is, they hear the hallucinations, something saying that you are great, you are God, or the delusion. You may ask, like, why the delusion of persecution? They may start thinking that I am God or I am great. That's the reason why people want to come and kill me. So those type of belief system can build up. They can also have the labile mood, that is sometimes they may cry, sometimes they may laugh. Meaning stupor or mute or immobile facial expression can also be seen, and that stage of elevated mood is known as ecstasy. So this is a clear picture of a person who would go into depression or who would go into mania. So this is a pictorial depiction of bipolar affective disorder. One thing I want to clearly mention, that an individual with the mood swings is not known as bipolar affective disorder. It is known as bipolar affective disorder because an individual can develop depression at one point, can develop mania at one point. Whereas repeated episodes of depression is known as recurrent depressive disorder, and if an individual is having either depression or manic episodes, those individuals are known as bipolar affective disorder. The management differs for both the disorder. Earlier, bipolar affective disorder was known as MDP, that is manic depressive psychosis, but now that term is obsolete and we use the term bipolar affective disorder. Coming to our DSM-4 criteria for manic episode, it is a distinct period of abnormally and persistently elevated, expansive or irritable mood lasting for at least 1 week or any duration if hospitalization is necessary. During the period of mood disorders, 3 or more of the following symptoms have persisted. 4 if the mood is only irritable and have been present to a significant degree, that is inflated self-esteem or grandiosity. Decreased need for sleep, that is example feels rested only after 3 hours of sleep, more talkative than usual, or you can see the pressure to keep talking. Flight of ideas or subjective experience that thoughts are racing. Distractibility, that is attention too easily drawn to unimportant or irrelevant external stimuli. Increase in goal directed activity, either socially at work or school or sexually, or psychomotor agitation. Excessive involvement in pleasurable activities that have a high potential for painful consequences. Example, engaging in unrestrained buying sprees. sexual indiscretions, or foolish business investments. The symptoms do not meet criteria for a mixed episode. The mood disturbance is sufficiently severe to cause marked impairment in occupational functioning or in usual social activities or relationships with others. So, to necessitate hospitalization to prevent harm to self or others, or there are psychotic features. The symptoms are not due to direct physiological effect of a substance, example a drug of abuse, a medication or other treatment, or due to a general medical condition like hyperthyroidism. Usually some of the drugs like cannabis, LSD, MDMA, these can lead to manic like symptoms. Many like episodes that are clearly caused by somatic antidepressants treatment, example ECT or antidepressants or light therapy, should not count towards a diagnosis of bipolar 1 disorder. So a person is going through the phase of depression. I start the person on antidepressant and the person has a switch phenomena. This term is known as switch phenomena from depression to suddenly to a mania within 1 or 2 days of starting the antidepressant, that will not be categorized under bipolar affective disorder. But a person who is diagnosed to be having bipolar affective disorder and we have to treat the person for depressive episode, we usually try to avoid antidepressants as it may lead to this switch phenomena. You have to keep the differential diagnosis of schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, organic brain disease, and substance intoxication. How do you manage this mania? Investigations is of prior importance. We have to rule out hyperthyroidism or any thyroid dysfunction. Check for the complete blood count. Do an X-ray, CT scan brain to rule out the organicity of the diseases. Apply Young Mania rating scale. Medications with antipsychotic drugs and mood stabilizers and benzodiazepines would be helpful. Antipsychotics, which can be typical in the form of haloperidol, flupentixol, fluongzol, zuclopentixol. Atypical antipsychotics, that is a newer antipsychotics, that is SDRI, there is serotonin dopamine reuptake inhibitors like olanzapine, risperidone, aripiprazole. These can be used as a first line of management. Your mood stabilizers are nothing but your anti-epileptic drugs because kindling effect has been explained as an hypothesis for the etiology of bipolar affective disorder. So, mood stabilizers in the form of divalproate sodium, carbamazepine, oxcarbamazepine can be used. Lithium is also used as a mood stabilizer in these cases. ECT can be used in severe depression or in severe mania. Psychoeducation to the family members is very, very important for maintaining the compliance of the medication. Family therapy to maintain the interpersonal relationship is very, very important. In chronic diseases, rehabilitation of that individual is very important. Thank you.